What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. The football season is back, my friends. Steelers football is once again upon us on this Monday night as Pittsburgh played in the feature game of the week in the first Monday night game of two in NFL's opening weekend. What a fun weekend it is for football fans and Steeler fans alike. Thank you guys for checking out my Pittsburgh Steelers 53-man roster review and breakdown. Thank you guys very much for also checking out my, what else did I do for the Steelers? The breakdown and prediction video for their record game by game this year. If you have not seen those two videos yet and you want my thoughts on the roster and the game breakdowns, predictions for this season, check those videos out on this channel. I also have a bunch of other stuff, film reviews, poetry, wrestling, all horror, all kind of stuff. Go check that out. But today I want to talk to you guys about the result that just passed. Pittsburgh beating the New York Giants 26-16 in a game that was not necessarily as close as the score indicates. First half was pretty close. It was a sloppy start. I feel like Pittsburgh, most of the time, even mid-season form, kind of starts these games sloppily, especially offensively. It was Ben's first game back in an entire year, and that was the big question, was how would Big Ben come back at his advanced age with all the hits that he's taken after not playing for an entire season? And the answer is pretty good. Started off very jittery. The whole team, I feel like, aside from defense, was very jittery. Special teams was jittery. We came out. Deontay Johnson muffed a punt on the first drive, which gave the Giants the ball at like the 2-yard line right after a defensive stop. So the defense had to hold again on the 2-yard line. Then Ben came out and threw the ball backwards on the ground to Connor. So Ben was really off kilter for the first quarter and a half. He was really off for the most part. Connor did not get going at all tonight. He was really off some of the routes. A couple times the ball was like I think it hit Deontay Johnson in the back one time. The team just seemed very slow starting on the offensive side of the ball, and special teams was a bit of a janky situation as well. But the offense came around. They had a 2-minute drive at the end of the half to get up on the Giants and never looked back after that. It was kind of clicking from that point on. And the defense was pretty stout throughout for the most part. There was like one or two big plays they gave up, but for the most part, it was a really solid effort defensively. So yeah, Pittsburgh did start slow. First half was closer than it should have been for sure, but second half they came out, and the combination of pass rush and the advanced running game and some of the shorter middle crossing routes worked out well for us as we go up and win at 26-16. Let me get to you guys on the stat line, and we'll talk about group breakdowns. Big Ben in his first game back. Welcome back to our Hall of Fame quarterback. I've missed you, big man. 21 of 32, 229 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. That is the big stat line there. 3 touchdowns, no picks. Really efficient day. Solid Big Ben type performance. Didn't chuck the ball downfield as much as you would like, but was very efficient on the short to medium crossing routes, especially from the 2-minute drill in the first half through the second half. Running game, we had a 100-yard game on the ground today, and it was not from our starter. Benny Snell came in relief, 19 carries, 113 yards, looked very good out there. James Conner did not, 6 carries for 9 yards. I will talk about that in a second. Wide receivers, the whole group looked pretty good today. In spite of the running game not getting going, the offensive line being kind of off, the passing game, Ben being off in general at first. But the wide receivers, all in all, I thought looked pretty good. People were wondering, do we have any elite receivers on this team? They came into question, guys like Washington, especially Juju was under fire. Can they do it with Ben back without Antonio Brown? We saw some good movement tonight. They did a lot of motion stuff, a lot of movement, a lot of, working the fullback a little bit, working the tight ends a little bit. We saw Juju, 6 catches, 69 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had the big 50-plus yard first half, was quieter in the second half, but did have a touchdown in both halves. Deontay Johnson, really slow start. Again, dropped the ball in the first half, ran a wrong route in the first half, and muffed a punt in the first half, but got together in the second half and was one of our biggest high points. 6 catches, 57 yards, most of that in the second half. James Washington had a couple of nice targets as well as a touchdown in this game as well, so good for him. And Chase Claypool had a couple of nice plays. He had a reverse play where he ran the ball for 8 yards. He had the first big completion of the game. I think it was like a 30-yard gain. I didn't catch the exact yardage, but he caught a beautiful sideline catch on his first target. it was kind of a Ben kind of threw it up, and it was kind of behind, so Claypool had to wait on the ball, and he skied up over two guys, got good positioning, caught the ball over two Giants at a high point, and tapped his toes on the sideline. Great opening catch for that young man. So we saw glimpses of all four of our big four guys doing good things in this game. Ebron also caught a nice pass at tight end. So we're seeing some of these new weapons being ingratiated slowly into the offense we had last year. Offensively, again, Ben started slow but wound up being efficient. Multiple touchdowns, no injuries. We did see him limp early in the game, and I was like, oh man, here we go again. But thankfully, he seemed like he was okay. No turnovers offensively on that, which was nice. James Conner looked very tentative. He was just not making decisions. He was being, if I can say, too patient. He was dancing around the hole too much. Wasn't finding much. And again, it wasn't all on Conner because the passing game was a little off. And the offensive line especially did not look good together in this game. A lot of those guys really had a hard time, at least for the first half, trying to gel. We had a couple guys switching spots. We had Wisniewski in there. We had Banner as a first-time starter. Filer was in there for DeCastro tonight. DeCastro did not play, so our best lineman was out of the game. Matt Filer filled in. And the news doesn't get much better from there. Although the line did get better, Ben got protected a little better in the second half. And obviously, like I said, Benny Snell stole the show on offense with 113 yards on some big runs in the second half. Matt Filer went down with an injury, and I don't think he returned in the game. And if he did, I didn't hear about it. But then also Zach Banner went down, and what seems to be a pretty serious injury. I don't have any updates at this current time. I'm recording this video while the post-game conferences are going on, so I don't know of the health of Filer or Banner. But with DeCastro already out, I think Wisniewski had a problem earlier in the game as well. Maybe it was Wisniewski and Banner. I'm confusing a couple guys, but we had 2 to 3 injuries on the line tonight, and we already had DeCastro out to begin with. So our line was already a bit thin, and it got more injured tonight. So that is not a good start for the line. Again, James Conner just did not look effective in there when he was in there. Once he got hurt in the second quarter and Snell came in, and the running game instantly looked a little better, he broke out in the second half and got better as the game went on, just like he did last year. We did see a couple of plays where Jalen Samuels was in there, didn't do anything. Didn't play the rookie either, so we saw 3 guys in there, but 2 of them, Conner and Snell, got most of the reps. I think Snell needs to be the starter going forward. Look, we all love James Conner. We know what kind of person he is. We know about his charity work. We know about his local ties. We know about his cancer survival. I love this guy as a person. As a player, he's been, at the very best, wildly inconsistent. He never steps up when anybody else is injured. When he is out there, even with the full team like we had tonight, he gets hurt. When he's not hurt, he plays like he did early in the game tonight, where he's not that effective. He had that really good season when Bell sat out, and he came out and did the stuff that Bell did because the league wasn't expecting him because they didn't have any tape on him yet. Now if they have tape on him and he's our full-time guy, he is not a number 1 running back. He is at the very best a fill-in committee guy. Again, he's likable, he's personable, but he's not a full-time starter. I don't think he's our best running back. I would go with Benny Snell here and maybe give Conner some plays here and there if he's healthy. But his injury history and his inconsistency make him not the number 1 guy for me. You guys can tell me in the comments below how wrong you think I am. I know it's going to be a debate. We all love James Conner, but he's not the number 1 guy. Again, Juju, great first half. Deontay, very good second half. Washington touchdown. Claypool looked good. I like this group. Defensively, again, it says 16 points. Those 16 points are pretty deceptive. The first 3 points, the first field goal allowed, was after the Deontay Johnson fumble. Right after a defensive stop, Deontay fumbled the punt, gave him the ball on like the 2-yard line. The defense held up 3 consecutive plays and held to a field goal. Major win for the defense in spite of points being given up. The other one was Joe Hayden was called for a defensive pass interference when it should not have been a pass interference. It was not a good call, which would have been a 3rd down stop. That would have been a punt for the Giants. Instead, that gave them an automatic 1st down, and on the very next play, they went downfield deep to Slayton, who beat Steven Nelson for a touchdown. So that play wouldn't have happened had the bad call not been made. We'd have been off the field. So that's a touchdown given up, but it wouldn't have happened had the call not been there. And then the final touchdown that was gotten by Slayton was gotten in the last 2 minutes of the game when it was kind of like the game was over. The defense was kind of being a little relaxed. So 16 points, 1 touchdown off a bad call, 1 field goal inside the 5-yard line. I think it's a major win for the defense. Looking at the stats here, we had 3 sacks tonight. Vince Williams, who played great. Mike Hilton, who played great. Stephon Tuitt, who played good. Interceptions, we had 2. 2 linemen, interceptions, played great. TJ Watt played great. Cam Hayward played very good. This front 7, this pressure is awesome. Obviously, I'm going to shout out those 5 guys that I talked about in the sacks and the interceptions. TJ Watt was off the ball like crazy. He got his hands on the quarterback's arm a few times. He hit a ball that went forward. They called a pass that might have been a fumble. So he got 1 or 2 plays that he could have had fumbles on. Also got an interception where he jumped up off the line and picked the pass off. Constant pressure. Bud Dupree was one of the stars tonight. No sacks listed here, but constant pressure. He was in the backfield on Daniel Jones constantly. They could not guard him. He was unstoppable today. The whole front 7 played great today. Again, Cam with an INT. Tuitt with a sack. Mike Hilton on his blitzes like he always does, played well. Ola Adeni came in for a tackle and a few QB hits. He was really solid tonight. Big shout out to Ola. We haven't talked much about him with what he can do. We even saw 2 or 3 pressures and even a tackle from Alex Highsmith, the rookie who came in relief. He had a couple of nice plays in there. Tyson Alualu, I think, had 2 or 3 tackles, including 1 for a loss. I like what he did tonight. The entire front 7 was on. Trying to think about Vince Williams on the sack. He had a lot of tackles in the backfield. It was a presence tonight. He had a lot of pressure on the inside. This was one of Williams' best games in a while. Like what he did out there. Devin Bush in coverage played pretty well. And then looking at the secondary, Hayden had a real nice game. The one bad call on him, but played really well. Knocked down a 2-point conversion. Contested a lot of balls. I really enjoyed what he did today. Hilton was really good in blitzing and in coverage. Sutton had a few nice plays in coverage. I like his day today. The one weakness on the entire defense tonight, in my opinion, was a guy I loved who was great last year. Who was the best pickup we had last year? Steven Nelson. He got beat several times. Both touchdowns were on him. The deep ball to Slayton and the slant to Slayton were both on Steven Nelson tonight. So not his best game, but we're going to let him have one bad game. I think he's going to get back into focus. And then, of course, Edmonds led in tackles tonight because he wasn't always the best in coverage. That's not his strong suit. But all in all, solid effort from the defense. Sacks, turnovers, defensive stops when they matter. Red zone defense getting a stop inside the 5 and an interception after the Giants at one point had an 18-play, almost 10-minute drive. The Giants, 18 plays, and it was like 9 and change. And the ball got tipped. I think Dupree hit Daniel Jones' arm, and Cam got the interception in the end zone. So turnover and a forced field goal in the red zone inside the 10-yard line. Really good defense today. Special teams was a little iffy. Didn't like what I saw in that unit tonight. We did have 1 to 2 field goals tonight from Boswell, but he clanked an extra point off of the post. You don't see that too often, so that's a mark against him. Again, Deontay Johnson on the opening kickoff bobbles the fumble, and a couple times he caught the ball falling down. He was nervous after that. You could tell he was worried about catching the ball. So fell down a couple of times and fumbled one. And also the punter Colquitt, had a decent night overall, but also kicked the kickoff out of bounds. So that unit didn't play all that great tonight, even though we did have one good kickoff return from I think it's the wide receiver we signed. I can't think of his name right now, but it's the 5th wide receiver on the depth chart who didn't play in the lineup tonight, but he had a good return. So special teams needs cleaned up a little bit. Offense needs tightened up. Run game needs more consistency, and the offensive line especially needs health and depth right now. But all in all, you got to feel good. Multiple touchdowns, good defense, and a 26-16 win. So what did you think? Who were your stars of the game? Who do you give your game balls to? And what are you most looking forward to next week? Give me your thoughts on this game below. I hope you guys watch and enjoy this. Tell your friends. Let's get these reviews popping, and I'll see you guys next week when Pittsburgh plays the Broncos. Take care, my friends. Go Steelers.